Hello class, Mr. Sands coming at you in another screencast for Creative Media class. In this screencast, I'm going to be showing you how to get started on your video podcast. So I even have a script. Look at me, comb my hair, wrote a script. I am prepared for this screencast today, and I got a little bit of tea left over. Delicious, love green tea. So in this screencast, we're going to be showing you, or I'm going to be showing you rather, how to get the photos from your computer and get them into iMovie. I'm going to assume that you've already created your podcast, the whole audio part. We've edited that together, we've trimmed it, we've made it sound amazing, so that's done. I'm also going to assume that you've been able to find images in the Google image search using the filters that I've showed you how, and finding a lot of high resolution photos, because I've already made a screencast for that. What you might not have done is this. So let's say we go to Google Saves, google.com/save. So if you're logged into your account, you're going to see that you have a favorite list right here. I've created the surfing video podcast list. It's got 50 pictures in there. So what I love about this is it shows you exactly where you got them from. So let's take a look at this first picture. This first picture I don't have downloaded on my computer yet. It's in my cloud and it's tagged as a saved photo in Google, but it's not physically downloaded to the desktop yet. So in order to do that, it's very simple. I can just right-click on the picture. So for us on a Mac, we hold down the control button and then we click on the picture and we're going to save image as. Now, I really hope that you've made a folder on your desktop. You see that on my desktop I have a bunch of folders, but I have one called Surfing Video Podcast Pictures. So I'm going to call this Guy Surfing. Very specific title. And it's from Wikimedia. Okay? So I'm just going to call it something so I can kind of figure out what it is. I'm going to save it in that folder with all my other pictures. Now I've got 51 pictures in that folder. So I'm going to kind of put this away right now. So you see, I have surfing video podcast pictures. This folder has all of my pictures in it. There's a lot of them, and I've named them all very specific things to kind of help me remember, hey, what is what? Because if I look at Boogie Board, if I hit the space bar to just quickly preview it, hey, that's obviously a boogie board. If it's just some random combination of words and letters or numbers that I don't understand, I've got to look through all of them. So just take a couple seconds and name your photo something so you know what they are. You see I've also got a folder right here that says podcasting. And this is nice because I've got the Mp3 file. I'll extend it all the way here. I've got the Mp3 file, of my surfing podcast. So we need the Mp3 file because we don't want the GarageBand file. The GarageBand file is not going to talk and work with iMovie, but if we have the Mp3 file, it will work in iMovie. Also, you may not have this at this point. You may, depending on how the semester's been going, but this is the two podcast cover art. So this was the photo that I started with, and you see that after going into Adobe Photoshop, I was able to transform it into something kind of cool, representative of me and my podcast, and I'm going to use that in this actual video podcast as well. So I have those in their own folders. Bottom line here, I hope you see that I've got my files organized. I know where to find them when I need them, and I'm ready to go. It pays off in the end, trust me. So we've downloaded the photos. They're in this folder, and now we're ready to actually start playing around in iMovie. Let's get started in iMovie. I've already opened it up, and I've actually already made this podcast. So if I go ahead and mute, I can scroll and you're not going to hear it. So this is the whole video podcast. I showed it to you in class, and this is what it looks like. This is my audio file, my Mp3 file, and then these are all the pictures. So you see they're kind of zooming in and out. Some are there only for 2.6 seconds, some are there for 4 seconds, some I'm holding on for longer, like this one is 10.7 seconds. You can kind of see how long that I've had each photo on there. Some are longer than others, and I've done that to kind of match up to what I'm talking about. I showed you that when I was talking about big wave surfing, I have pictures of big wave surfing. When I was talking about stand-up paddleboarding, I have pictures of stand-up paddleboarding. It's not rocket science, guys. It's just really easy to match up pictures of what you're talking about when you're talking about them. And then at the beginning and the end, I have the picture of my cover art. So let's get started. We're first going to need to make an event. So this is my list of events over here. I have a bunch of events in mind. You're probably not going to have any events in yours because this is creative media class and we normally don't use iMovie. This is kind of a new application for us, and this might be the first time that we're using it. So in order to make an event, I just want to click on something that's over here. There's probably going to be something that's listed that has today's date on it if you're opening it for the first time. And what you're going to do is you want to go up here to File, and you're going to make a new event. Okay? This new event, I'm going to call it Video Podcast Pictures. Okay? So now it's alphabetical. You see that Video Podcast Pictures is over here, and it's empty. There is no media in it. I can do it two ways. I can import the media, click on it. I can find my folder on the desktop, and you see that I can go here to Surfing Video Podcast Pictures. If I drop this down, all of my pictures are in there. I can just click on the one folder and bring the whole folder in, import selected. Here are all the pictures. They're all in there. I'm going to go ahead and delete them now, and I'll show you the second way that you can do this. So let me select all of them, Control click, delete media from event. Okay, now they are gone. Okay, the other way that you can do this, iMovie is pretty drag and drop friendly as well. So if I just kind of resize my window here, and now I'm looking at my Surfing Video Podcast Pictures. Will it let me put the whole folder in there? Yes, it will. I just want to make sure I'm using the right event. Okay, in this event, and there they all are. And so now, all of the pictures are in there. So you can import them and select them from your folder, or you can just drag and drop them in there. Okay, so now I'm going to start from scratch here. I'm going to do a new event. So I'm going to go new project rather. I'm going to create a new one. You probably don't have any projects. I've got a lot of stuff that I've been doing in iMovie on this computer. You see a lot of different projects. In fact, here's the surfing video completed. But I'm going to do a new one, and we're going to start working on it right now. Movie. This is a blank timeline. There's nothing on here right now. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by just putting a picture down. I need to import my podcast cover art picture. So let's go ahead and just drag and drop it in there. Podcast cover art. I want to use the Photoshop one, the JPEG file, drop it in there. Close that and bring this back up. Okay, so I'm going to start with this picture, and now you see that it defaults, whenever you put a picture in your timeline, the default effect is what's called this Ken Burns effect. So if I just play this now by hitting the space bar, you see that it's a zoom in or a zoom out. Now you can adjust this a couple ways, because let's say I don't want to start with a zoom picture. I just want to show the whole thing. Up here, there's a little area called cropping. If I click on it, it shows me I can do a fit, which will show the whole screen here, and it will actually have some black bars on the side. I can do a crop to fill, which means that I can just show all of this part of the picture. But you see that it's cutting off my face. Or I can do a Ken Burns, which would start somewhere and then zoom in somewhere else. So you see that if I do this, now I'm going to start at the top, and I'm going to kind of zoom in and go down. I mean, that's a cool effect, but I just want to show the whole thing. I just want to fit this. And even though it's going to have black bars on the side, I want to show the whole picture. So I'm going to start with that. Now, the next thing I need to do is I need to get my podcast audio file, my .mp3 file, into iMovie as well. So again, we can do this one of two ways. I'm going to go ahead and make a new event. Well, this is kind of not working for me right now. Give me 1 second. Okay, now we can select it. So if I want to make a new event, and let's call this podcast audio. Okay, so there's my podcast audio. Now I can either drag and drop it in there, or I can import it by actually selecting the file. Let's go ahead and actually import it by selecting the file. Import media. It's on the desktop, and it is in the folder that should say podcasting. And if I look in it, there is my file, import selected. Now this is a green audio wave file. So you see that if I click it and drag it and drop it down in my timeline, it has all these peaks and valleys, and I've got the audio muted right now, so you're actually not hearing anything. But if you kind of scrub back and forth, you can hear the audio a little bit. So you notice that there's green, and then sometimes it'll get up to yellow and red, and there's other yellow tips right here. So you can increase the volume of this, and you see that if you get into the red, what I always say is red is dead. That means that it's going to be really hard to hear. It's going to be overly loud. It's going to be distorted. It's not going to sound like very good audio. So yellow is okay, but red is dead. So for me, this podcast was recorded at pretty good audio levels. There's some green and there's some yellow. There's really not much red as I scroll through. All the way through. This is a long podcast. It's 5 minutes. Yeah, looks pretty clean. Yeah, I did a decent job with this one. And so I could actually just zoom out and look at the whole thing, and I can zoom in and look at a more detailed view. So let's go back to the beginning here. So you see I'm starting with this picture, and then I need to put in other pictures. So now I'm going to go ahead and unmute. And let's just kind of start the process here. I'm going to watch what I've got.
This is Mr. Sands, and you're listening to the Yours Truly podcast.
Okay, so I see, I'm going to mute this. I see this is my opening song and my introduction, and where does my introduction stop? I think if I'm looking at the audio waveforms, it probably stops about right here.
That it's not a part of my life right now, but I'm hoping that
Nope.
you from several hundred feet out doing them. In this particular podcast, I'm going to focus on surfing.
Okay, so about this point right here, this is my opening song, and about right here where I've made this little mark, that's where I say surfing. So what I'm envisioning is I just want to see this picture up until I say surfing. So now,
podcast, I'm going to focus on surfing.
And I can zoom in a little bit, and I can trim this back a little bit.
Dan's coming at you for the 4th episode of my example podcast, the Yours Truly podcast, where I talk about all the things that I like to do and why I enjoy doing them. In this particular podcast, I'm going to focus on surfing.
Need to extend this a little bit.
In this particular podcast, I'm going to focus on surfing.
Okay, that's pretty good. So now I'm going to insert a picture of surfing. So where is my video podcast pictures? I just want a picture of surfing. This is a fine picture of surfing. Let's put that one in there. This is going to be different than the actual podcast that I made, but I'm just kind of, again, showing you what to do. So you notice that it defaults with a Ken Burns effect. Okay, it's not bad. It's kind of cool. I could also, let me go ahead and turn the sound on. I could also, let's say I just want to fit. Well, again, it's going to show the whole photo, but it's going to show these black bars on the side. So what does that look like?
On surfing. So you might first be...
I think I want a little movement for this one because I don't want to see the black bars on the side, and I don't really think I want to crop it. Because I could crop it, I can show, just the bottom or the top or right in the middle.
Surfing. So you might first be...
I think I want a little motion on this one. And you don't have to use the Ken Burns effect on every picture. I think sometimes it's actually annoying if you don't want to use it. But in this picture, I want a little dynamic movement effect. So I want to turn on that Ken Burns. So you actually get a little bit of control, and that you can tell the computer, you can tell iMovie, this is where I want you to start, and this is where I want you to end. Now, this is the most important part, that if you're doing a small, gradual move, the default length for the picture that comes into iMovie is 4 seconds. So I can drag this out and I can make the picture 20 seconds long. And you see that if I do a small gradual move, it'll be very, very small and gradual. So I'm starting here and I'm going to end there. So it looks like this.
So you might first be asking, what is surfing? Well, you can define surfing as riding a wave in the ocean when you're...
I'm just going to stop it halfway there. You see, that's a very, very slow, gradual move, and it's taking 20 seconds to do that move. Let's make a little more dramatic move. So let's go really close in on this guy's face, and we're going to zoom out to the whole picture. Or sorry, we're going to start and then we're going to end on this guy's face. So let's see what this looks like. It's going to be a little faster move now because we're being more dramatic in our motion. Let's see what it looks like.
Surfing. So you might first be asking, what is surfing? Well, you can define surfing as riding a wave in the ocean when you're on the face of the wave as the wave breaks and moves into shore. So basically, surfing is allowing the power or energy of the wave to move you.
So that works. I think that I got a little too close and it started to look a little grainy and pixelated here at the end. So maybe now I want to adjust it again, and I say I don't want to get that close. Let's go maybe something like that. Okay? And let's say this. Let's say I want to flip-flop. Let's say I want to start in close, and then I want to zoom out. So this is what it looks like now.
Is on surfing. So you might first be asking, what is surfing? Well, you can define surfing as riding a wave in the ocean when you're on the face of the wave as the wave breaks and moves into shore. So basically, surfing is allowing the power or energy of the wave to move you. Instead of you having to paddle, you having to swim, you actually get to be moved by the wave.
And so also I think what I would do here, mute that, is I will extend that until that little bit of conversation is over. So now I'm going to look at one picture for about 26 seconds, and it's okay because I can do a pretty dramatic move because this is a long time. Now you notice that if I shorten the picture and I only show it for 2.3 seconds, look at the how startling the movement is now. It's much, much quicker. Sometimes it works for you. Sometimes it can be very kind of like jarring. So it just depends. It's just kind of something to play around with. These are the tools that you can use. You can fit the photo, and you will see the black bars on the side. You can, let's do a crop and show you a crop. So let's just put this one in there. And so I could do a crop. A crop is, it's just the photo, and it's full screen. Mute it. So we got everything right here. We've got a fit, shows the black bars on the sides. Okay? We've got a crop, it's still, but it fills the whole frame. And then we've got a Ken Burns, where there's actually movement to it. So these are your tools that you can use when you're putting your pictures in there. The best advice that I can give you is play around, have fun with it, experiment, try things. If it's not working, try something else. If you like it and it's working, keep doing it. Listen to your podcast, and whatever you're talking about, whenever you're talking about it, try to put in a picture that represents that. It's not rocket science, guys. Just when you're talking about option A, you should have a picture of option A. If you're talking about topic B, you should have a picture about topic B. Just try to match it up. Try to make sense with it. And put the pieces of the puzzle together. So anyway, that was very much a crash course in iMovie. I hope this screencast has made sense for you. If you need to watch it again, please go ahead and do so. Maybe you just need to go back to a couple different parts. But I love working with iMovie. Even with photos and audio, it's able to really kind of breathe life into these podcasts and take them to a whole nother level because now we are really getting into multimedia, both visual and audio elements of media. So anyway, guys, have fun with this, and I will catch you on the flip side. Peace out.